What is up, y'all? Welcome back to the Raw Prospect Podcast. Today we got episode 20.
I'm Michael Wing.
Amy Nixon right here. Today we're talking MLB Free Agency.
We're going to rank our top 10, top 15 NFL draft prospects. And we're also going to try to do some NBA storylines. We got some Lakers talk to do. And then we're going to kind of forecast, kind of preview the contenders, top people for the Masters, which comes up in about a month from now. But the calendars turn to March, not month. And you know what March means? It means madness. But we're not going to do any college hoops today.
Mm-hmm. We'll save that a little bit later. We'll save that for next week.
Hopefully, when the bracket comes out, we can do a show where we fill out brackets.
Yeah.
When the bracket comes out in about a little over 2 weeks. But for right now, that's what we're going to talk about. So, Amy, where are we going to start?
All right. Let's start with the Masters picks. Let's just start with that.
So you go ahead.
Well, the first thing is we've just been waiting for a Masters where all of the top players play, where they're just going into the tournament in form. And I'm just hoping we're getting that this year, because you have Phil, who already won this year. You have Rory with 3 straight top 5 finishes. First time he's done that in his career. Yeah. And then you have Tiger. You have Justin Thomas. Jordan Spieth isn't playing well right now, but it's Augusta. I mean, he always plays well at Augusta. And then you have like supporting players like Adam Scott, Sergio Garcia in good form as well. Veterans like that that can make a run. But the key with the Masters is whoever is able to make the putts when it counts. I would think of somebody like when Tiger was winning his Masters all those years. He was always making the putts. That was the biggest key. So right here I have the top 5 in strokes gained.
While he's doing his search query on that, I'm going to mention a couple names I was thinking about for particularly this year. I look at a guy who's currently world number 1 right now and who seems to always play well in majors, particularly at Augusta, Justin Rose. He's consistent every week. He's a week-to-week player. He's had a pretty good career resume at Augusta. He was runner-up in 2017 and 2015. And he has 11 top 25 finishes at Augusta, 5 top 10 finishes, and he has never missed a cut in his career at Augusta. So he has a pretty impressive resume, and he's been runner-up a couple times. He's just fallen short of getting that elusive win he needs. And he's kind of been stuck on one major for a while now. So I think if he could get a second one, get a green jacket, his resume, his career would look a lot better. He's a potential. Plays well week to week. Now, I can't, even though Koepka might not, because he seems to only want to win the U.S. Open, but even though I can't bet against the guy who's won 3 of the past, 6 majors he's played in. Mm-hmm. And remember, he didn't even play in last year's Masters. He had to withdraw because he was dealing with a wrist injury. And he ended up coming back from that, winning PGA Tour Player of the Year, I believe. And he won 2 majors. The U.S. Open, which he repeat back-to-back. And then, of course, the PGA. So, he's only competed in 3 Masters. He made the cut in all 3. His best finish was tied for 11th in 2017. And he's never missed a cut, although he's only played in 3. Was supposed to play last year, but was dealing with that injury. So if he, he's calm, he's poised, he seems to play well on the big stage. So we'll just have to see. And then Rory, it's kind of Rory always seems to play like he's playing really well right now, but he's caught the wrong people at the wrong times. Like last week at the WGC World Golf Championships, Dustin Johnson, like Rory was playing great, but Dustin Johnson just took it to another gear. And then all the other weeks he's caught the hot people, Justin Thomas. Both Justin
Ricky.
Thomas and Rory are playing really well,
but they're just not putting.
They're just not putting, and they're not finishing it on Sunday.
Right.
And they haven't won a lot yet. But both could be in contention, certainly, at the Masters. And I just hope for what you hope for, a major or a Masters where everyone is playing well. And, of course,
all the top guys, basically.
Of course, the hype's going to be kind of heightened this year because Tiger's now won an event and has come back, and people are looking for him to now win another major too. But I'm just hoping for what you said in the beginning, a podcast or a Masters or a major where all the elite players are at the top of the leaderboard and competing on Sunday.
Yeah. Another player I wanted to mention, Xander Schauffele.
Oh yeah, sleeper.
That's my dark horse pick. He came in second at last year's Open, as you all know, and he was left off of the Ryder Cup team, kind of disappointingly. They gave Phil Mickelson the nod, but I just think here's a guy who doesn't get as much press as, say, Justin Thomas or Jordan Spieth, but he came out of the same high school class, and he has just as much talent. He just may not be yet quite as flashy. His game suits Augusta well. He plays a draw, and he's extremely solid with the putter. I believe in his last 10 tournaments, he hasn't ranked outside the top 30 in strokes gained putting. So keep an eye on that. If he's putting well, he will very likely be there on Sunday. And another name, Tony Finau.
Oh, yeah.
Tony Finau is always lurking on leaderboards, but he just hasn't broken through yet. I would be a little bit more confident with that pick if he were to win a tournament in the coming weeks. But I feel like it's still a solid pick, given that he's always getting top 10s, and he's always close, and it's just bound to happen. He's going to win a tournament, and he's always top 5 in driving distance. So that's a huge advantage for him at Augusta, because for that course, as we all know, it always plays well for either a left-handed player who plays a fade or a right-handed player who plays a draw, because hole 2, hole 3, hole 4, basically all the holes except for like 5 or 6 play for a draw. So that's the key.
You're more of the golf expert than I am, but what do you make of Tiger's chances at Augusta?
Well, I feel like Tiger's in a really good spot mentally right now.
Yeah.
He just has to get the putter going. I think in the last few weeks he's been pressing a little bit, making adjustments and just thinking too much maybe. We saw him 4-putt on just extremely uncharacteristically in the WGC this past weekend on hole 16 on the 3rd round, and that just basically took him out of the tournament. He would have been right there in contention if that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So it's just, as you said in the podcast a few times when you were just by yourself, for that one podcast, Tiger just has to get the putter going.
Yeah.
That's it. Once he does that, then there's no reason why he can't win it.
Yeah. With his putter, I was talking about this in that podcast you mentioned. his confidence. It seems his confidence and his mental state is in a really good place right now. He has the confidence back, and he knows he can do it. Now that he has won, he just needs to figure out a putter, figure out a technique that works, because that seems to be his issue right now, and just walk in and make putts. But I mean, that's of course easier said than done.
But I will say that he is a lot more comfortable on Bermuda
Yeah.
greens instead of Helena greens, so that might play a little bit of a factor.
Yeah.
But either way, he still has to. That's still something he has to address. I liked your pick of Dustin Rose. I think that's a really solid pick. Obviously, since he's the number one player in the world. Let's talk about Ricky Fowler for a second.
Okay.
This is a guy who hasn't won a major yet, and we've just been waiting on him to break through for the last 5 or so years, and it just hasn't quite happened yet. And even when he won earlier this year in the waste management, he stumbled to the finish line. He became the only player in PGA Tour history to win a tournament with a double and a triple in the final round. It's so he just needs to, whatever mental block is there, that's just, yeah, he just has to find a way to just get that out. It's been there for, I don't know how many years. It's been 4 or 5 years where he's just struggled to finish tournaments. And it just seems that he's more comfortable coming from behind.
Yep.
But I hope he breaks through soon. I'd say he would be my pick for the PGA, depending on
he has had a couple, I believe, top 5 finishes, top 10 finishes at Augusta.
Yeah.
He just hasn't won yet.
Yeah, last year he was a runner-up.
Yeah. So he plays well. That's not the problem. He just, whatever mental block's there on Sunday that's keeping him from winning or closing things out, you just gotta somehow get over that.
Yeah.
Now I probably agree with you. I wouldn't necessarily pick him to win at Augusta, but maybe some other major, PGA, like you said, or maybe, what else would you say? If you had to rank the chances,
I'd say the second best chances for Ricky would probably be the British Open.
Yeah.
Since he's such a solid iron player, he's really good at playing at the wind. Growing up in North Texas and playing at Oklahoma State, and he's just he's showing it throughout his career. He's played extremely well in leagues like golf. So,
and remember, if he can not necessarily win the Masters, but if he can play well at the Masters, they moved the PGA up to May, so it's now the second major. So if he can gain some momentum going into the PGA, a major that fits his game well, then maybe that will work out well for him and he can end up winning.
Yeah, and then the PGA seems to be the major where guys win their first, you know? So maybe that'll be good for him. Is that all you wanted to say with the golf? All right, yeah, we can move right on then.
So we can do the meat of the podcast right now, which is the prospects, the NFL draft prospects, or we can do the quicker things first, like the NBA storylines or the Bryce Harper remaining Machado thing.
I say we just get right into the NBA prospects.
Yeah, all right. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about NFL Scouting Combine is this weekend. So prospects are doing their workouts, getting their measurements. We're starting to get a lot more information on everybody, and that's kind of changed, had some shakeups in the draft boards, if you will. The draft is in about a month and a half, a little over a month and a half, but it's what they call mock draft season. So what we're going to do is we're just going to run through our top 10, top 15 prospects, give you guys an update on who are the top guys in this year's draft, and then we'll finish it off with some NBA, and maybe some baseball. So, Emmy, if you want to start off with, I only did my top 10. I know we said top 15, but if you want to do top 15, that's fine.
Okay, yeah, I'd say we just do top 15. I
Okay.
think that's fine. If you have,
Yeah.
but my first player, uh, he's second in a lot of big boards. I have Quinn Williams as my first
Really?
player. He's just a player that can go in and impact any team. And the reason I don't have Nick Bosa at number one is because he's had injury problems in the past, um, and I want to see how well he runs his 40. I'm just waiting to see how well he runs his 40, and like I know Joey didn't run a fast 40, and that didn't really matter that much, but it seems to me um, his reputation comes a little bit from how good his brother is. That just kind of like I've watched his tape a little bit. That's just kind of how I looked at it. But either way, they're both great players. Quentin Williams to me is just if you put this guy on any of the 32 teams, he just goes in and he'll immediately change your run defense. He just clogs up the middle, and there's just no way you're getting past this guy. A lot like what Vince Wilfork did way back in the day for the Patriots. That's it. I mean,
yeah. I totally see it. If I were a GM and I was going to take one of the two guys, I take Keenan Williams because I like him better as a prospect.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of ranking him, I got to put Nick Bosa 1, just because he's going to get more opportunities, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
With Keenan Williams playing on the inside against some of the bigger linemen in the league, I feel like Nick Bosa, with his speed, his agility, his football IQ, he plays with great pad leverage. He stays low to the ground. He's a fantastic edge rusher. He's a high motor kid, like his brother is, and hand technique, um, great hands. Now I kind of knock him for his injury. He's coming off a weird core injury where he had to have some type of surgery and that cut his season short, which kind of knocks his draft stock just a tad. But he's a talent, man. He doesn't have very many weaknesses. His only weaknesses or worries are the injury problems, and he's a little small for what I like at defensive end. He's only 6'3". I don't know what he'll measure at the combine. Those were numbers a little while ago. But some people say he's a little small and a little undersized for his position. But I think he makes up with that with his speed, his agility, his football IQ, his instinctiveness, his awareness. Plays with great leverage. He's a smart guy, high motor. So I put him number 1. And since you talked about Keenan Williams, the guy I would draft on my team, I'll talk about Keenan Williams. He's like, I don't want to compare him to Aaron Donald because we don't know the type of impact he'll have in the NFL. You just can't project that because we don't know what system he'll be in and all that stuff. But he was the Aaron Donald of college football last year. Now, his biggest weakness is he kind of lacks experiences, and he kind of was a one-hit wonder. No one really noticed him until last year. But I don't think that'll matter. He's a great tackler. He has great closing speed for a guy his size. He uses his hands exceptionally well. He's a great interior pass rusher, and he can just wreck a game. He did it multiple times in college. One prime example being that LSU game. I believe he had like 10 or 12 tackles in that game, and maybe 3 or 4 tackles for loss and a couple sacks.
Yeah.
And they shut down LSU. So impact everywhere. Great pass rusher, uses his hands. Great tackler, and for his size, his mobility and his quickness are pretty. Uh, I mean, there are very few guys his size that can move like he does. So, who would I take? Keenan Williams, but I think the better prospect right now is Nick Bosa. But a lot can change. I think either guy, if the Cardinals did decide to go this direction in the draft, because there's all the quarterback talk, but if they did decide to go with this position in the draft, I think either guy would complement Chandler Jones exceptionally well and give them a good, formidable pass rush, which they're very in need of. So.
Yeah, exactly. Let's get into my third. I have Devin White third. 6 foot, 240 pounds, easily the ranges linebacker in his class. Just elite athleticism, and he's just one of those guys that can just go out there and make plays. He's just all over the field. And I just think the reason I have him over Josh Allen is just because I feel like Josh Allen is kind of it depends on your scheme. I feel like Josh Allen would fit better in a 3-4 than he would in a 4-3. But I just think Devin White would work well with any defense, if that makes sense. That's why I'm giving him a little bit more points there, and he can just go in there and make an impact. And he's a great blitzer as well. That's one of his underrated aspects of his game. And I love the way he played in the bowl game against UCF. One of the storylines before that game was he was talking trash, and he just completely backed the whole game. I remember he said something like UCF saying their national champions is the biggest joke he ever heard, or something like that. He just completely just made it look like that. That's for sure.
Yeah, it was hard putting these. I mean, you can't go wrong. I don't think
you really can't. You really can't. It's just opinionated at this point.
It is a defensive heavy draft, that is for sure. It's not last year with the 5 or 6 quarterbacks or whatever. But anyway, I like Josh Allen. His size is, he's the ideal size for an outside linebacker in the NFL. About 6'4", 6'5", 258, 260 pounds. I really like his size. Prototypical size to play on the edge. He's got a very good burst off the ball. First step quickness is pretty insane. He could improve his pass rushing moves. He's more of a cut and rip dude, like a kind of swim move type dude. He doesn't have a lot of pass rushing counter moves, if you will. He could improve on that, but with his acceleration, his good first step, his size, his versatility, he is great on the outside, setting the edge against run schemes. He's a guy who plays with effort. He will chase you from one side of the field to the other. And his awareness and his football IQ, some things that's going to keep coming up throughout this discussion, is in order to play in the NFL in these multiple different schemes, you got to be able to process in game, not just in practice learning the stuff, but you got to be able to see it in a game and react accordingly. So he does that very well. He was great for Kentucky, who was very good last year. And I don't know if a lot of people would kind of recognize him like they do now if Kentucky wasn't in the national kind of spotlight like they were last year. That kind of helped him a little bit. But I definitely think he can improve on his kind of bull rush. He doesn't do that enough with a guy of his size, and the balance and the versatility, as you mentioned, can be a problem. But every prospect can improve at something. So, and since you talked about Devin White, he's the guy I have fourth. You can't really go wrong with the order.
Yeah. I have Josh Allen.
The thing I really like about Devin White is he's rangy and he can go from sideline to sideline. And he's a very good tackler. He doesn't only tackle you; he pops you.
Yeah.
He's a hard hitter. He's great in run defense. He's a great downhill run defender. Great instincts. Knows kind of can sniff out where the run's going before the play.
He's quick enough.
Great speed and agility. Smart dude. Again, football IQ. Keeps coming back. And you can put him in almost, I think, any scheme. He's going to make an impact right away. Yeah. Now, like every linebacker, or most linebackers, I think he's great in zone coverage, and he's great with his instincts and knows where the play's going. But I think as far as like man-to-man, he can improve on that. But everyone, with the linebackers or the running backs coming out of the backfield nowadays in the NFL, all the different plays, schemes that offenses run, it's kind of becoming more of a college game. I think he can improve a little on his man coverage skills, but you can throw this guy in, and he'll go make plays for you. He has a knack for the ball, pretty good ball skills for a guy of his position. He just can improve a little in his man coverage technique from what I've seen. But I really like his ranginess. His physicality might come back to haunt him in the NFL depending on how physical he is with the new rules. But I think he'll learn pretty quickly. And particularly, I love his run defense and the effort that he gives play to play. Running sideline to sideline and making those tackles.
Yeah. To me, he's the Darius Leonard of this draft. I think he might even end up better than Darius Leonard.
Wouldn't be surprised. There's always that defensive gem in every draft. So.
Yeah. 5, I have Josh Allen, but I want to talk about my 6th guy.
Okay.
6 is where I have Dwayne Haskins. Okay. This guy, I think, is underrated. He's clearly the best quarterback in this draft, not Kyler Murray. Yeah. This guy has great size, and throughout the season, he proved that he's able to go through his progressions, and find his third read really quickly as well. And he's just elite pocket passer. He'll break down the defense, and he's athletic enough to also run a little bit as well. But the biggest thing I'd say he has over Kyler is just the size.
Yep.
Obviously.
Kyler
has a big arm.
That's something a lot of people miss about Kyler.
Yeah, he has a big arm.
For a guy of his size. Oh yeah. But the thing I like about Haskins, I have him a little lower on my list just because there's so many great defensive prospects in this draft. Mm-hmm. But the thing I love about Haskins is he throws a fantastic deep ball. Oh yeah. Great accuracy on the deep ball.
And he puts a lot of air under it also. So
he's very good at fitting the ball into tight windows, which he's going to have to do a lot in the NFL.
I think he could be a perfect fit for the Jaguars if he ends up falling there. That would be perfect.
Yep.
But anyway, a little bit off topic there.
Yep.
Who's your?
Well, I have a guy not a lot of people are talking about. A guy from Michigan, Rashawn Gary. This guy, a lot of defensive linemen, interior defensive linemen, they got to be good with their hands, and they got to be able to shed blockers. Because a lot of times you're either getting double teamed or sometimes triple teamed. So you got to be able to have elite hand skills. But this guy, the thing about him is his arms are long and he's strong, very strong. Great gap penetration skills. He uses his hands exceptionally well. And his first step quickness, like I talked about with Keenan Williams, is also good. and he's Devin White. He's a hard hitter too. He's a good tackler. He doesn't have as good lateral mobility as a guy Keenan Williams. Can't move side to side as well, and kind of worry about him sometimes as countering in terms of like pass rushing, countering what blockers throw at him. But everything about this guy is good. Um, it's just when we see the measurables when it comes out the combine, I'm not sure if the defensive linemen have done their test
Yeah, I
yet.
think they go tomorrow.
Tomorrow's a big day. But I really like him. I think there's the potential he could maybe fall a couple spots. So if you could a team at like 8 or 9 to end up with Rashawn Gary, I think that would be a hell of a steal. But because these rankings don't necessarily project where you're going to get picked, this is just
our opinions.
The raw prospect.
Yeah.
No pun intended. But Gary is 5th. I mean, so many guys coming up. Go ahead.
Yeah. There's a lot of defensive talent in this draft. Let's see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wait, 8 of the top 10.
Yep.
On my list. That's crazy. But anyway, that was your 5th, right?
Yep.
All right, go ahead and give your 6th next.
All right.
I gave my 6th.
I remember at the beginning of the season, it was like Ed Oliver. He's going to be the number 1 pick or whatever, or a top 3 pick. His draft stock's kind of fallen because he did not play the bowl game. He had, I believe, some attitude issues at Houston, which is kind of concerning. But he's an incredible athlete. He's very well conditioned. If you've seen the guy, you don't want to mess with him. First step quickness. You guys are starting to notice a pattern here, right? First step quickness, great football IQ. Plays with great leverage. Now he's kind of undersized in terms of like height. He's only like 6'1", 6'2", and some people worry that he might put on too much weight for his size. They say he can get up to 285 to 95, which is kind of heavy for a guy of about, a little shorter than me.
Yeah.
So he can get a little heavy, and that can be concerning. He has to stay at a certain weight, and he's kind of undersized for a guy of his position. But in terms of, he doesn't lack anything athletically or physically. He's physically gifted. Might be the most physically gifted guy in the draft in terms of defense. But his draft stock has dropped a little because attitude issues at Houston, and the fact that he didn't play their bowl game, I don't think.
And he's just, there was just weeks in their season where he just refused to play.
Yeah.
He was just there sitting on the sidelines, basically healthy, and then he just didn't want to play. He didn't want to risk getting injured. I mean, I don't blame him, but I mean, you got to communicate with the coaches a little better.
Yeah, that was the problem there. With the attitude and stuff. So, you want to go ahead and do your 7?
Mm-hmm. My 7th player is Ed Oliver. Ed Oliver's.
He's just too good of an athlete to drop him that far.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on team needs when you get down to like the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th picks, But I mean, if you get this guy, then you can just throw him in there and he'll be ready to go right away. He's listed as 274 as of right now, but I don't know how accurate that is.
Find out more accurately soon.
Yeah, very soon. But This dude is special. I mean, you can't go wrong with any of these defensive tackles we've mentioned. But the thing I like about him is just he's he's just really light on his feet. Like he doesn't move like a big 280-pound dude. Like he's just super.
athlete,
Yeah, he's just.
ultra athlete.
I don't want to like. This doesn't sound like the right word for it, but freak. He's just a freak. Just literally just.
He's definitely
just a one in a million athlete.
All of these guys are freaks.
Yeah,
he's a special.
But he's just crazy.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and do my seventh. Crazy. I don't have an offensive player until my eighth player. But my seventh player is Clelin Ferrell, defensive end from Clemson. Now you could throw either of the Clemson dudes up here, Dexter Lawrence or the other dude. What's his face? His name will come to me in a second. But Clelin Ferrell, I like him because of his lateral mobility. All these guys have good football IQ as far as I'm concerned. Great tackler, can chase guys sideline to sideline, make plays in the backfield, come from the weak side and make a play on the strong side. Good quickness for a guy his size. Again, great with his hands. His first step quickness and getting off the ball is a concern at times, and he's not very. You have to put him at specific positions. He's not a guy you can really move outside and have him come off the edge like you can a couple of the guys above him. So his positional flexibility kind of worries me a little bit. And his first step quickness, getting off the ball at times, also worries me. But great motor. Seems like a smart guy. Great with his hands. Great tackler. Good lateral mobility. Just as I mentioned, everyone has weaknesses, and those are his. So, but you can't go wrong with any of the Clemson guys.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, that defensive line was elite, and there's a reason for that. They're all first round guys, and you can make an argument that Dexter Lawrence is top 10 as well. But we'll get to that a little later. What am I at? 7 or 8? I think I'm at 8. 8, I have Greedy Williams, cornerback out of LSU, 6'3", 184 pounds. Key with this guy is size and speed. If you think about it, Richard Sherman, he's one of the tallest cornerbacks in the league. He's 6'5". This guy's 6'4", and he's likely to run really fast 40 tomorrow. We'll see. But he's just he has all the fundamentals down. That's the key. He's just really solid in his technique, and he's just a shutdown corner. You know, it's all these first round guys. I feel like the NBA is different, where every first round guy is not a finished product. They're all just raw, you know. But in the NFL, they're all NFL ready because they stayed in college 3-4 years.
Yeah.
So it's just a completely different ballgame.
For sure. I have a dude Nala. He's not going to get all the attention or whatever because he plays offensive line. But I'm going to give him his respect where it's due, I guess. A guy from Alabama, offensive tackle, Jonah Williams. Supposedly he's the best offensive lineman in this draft. There's another dude from Florida who we might get to later. But as far as he's concerned, plays with excellent technique, great positional flexibility. He'd be great for a team that's in need of offensive line. Houston Texans calling you. If they could trade up for one of these dudes, the guy from Florida or him, that'd be good. His positional flexibility is probably his best attribute. He can play both tackle positions. He can even move it in. And he can play guard too, which is very rare in terms of offensive linemen these days. The thing I like about him is he not only just doesn't block. He sustains his blocks and he finishes to the end, to the whistle. He keeps moving his feet. He's great with his footwork. Excellent technique. Can play multiple positions and has great football IQ, awareness, intelligence. His biggest weakness is he's not an athlete. He's just a big dude, but he's not overly strong for a guy his size. But as far as the intangibles go, the smarts, the intelligence, the flexibility, and the technique, I'm not sure you can find a better offensive lineman in this draft.
Yeah. I mean, him and Juwan Taylor. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't.
That's the duo stuff.
Yeah. I mean, either way, it's a win-win. But yeah, I think I have him ahead of Juwan Taylor, but just because, yeah, like you said, his versatility, that's so rare. When you think of in the NFL with all these teams that have their linemen get hurt, you can have this guy, you can move him around.
You can plug him in anywhere.
Plug him anywhere
I
you want.
believe he even had experience playing center at Alabama. I can't tell you the exact game or whatever details, but there was, I believe, a situation where they threw him in at center because they needed a guy to play center. And of course, with Nick Saban, it's just plug and play. But and you got to do your job, but you did it well.
Yeah.
At every position. So he has experience at every position. And if you need him, and he's only going to get better. So if you need him to play, add some depth to your offensive line, he's the guy to go with. But number 9,
Number 9, I have Farrell. Yeah. Defensive end that you had mentioned before.
Yeah.
I feel like you already hit on everything I needed to say. So, might as well move
on. At number 9, I have Greedy Williams. Great ball skills, great in man coverage, and he's long and he has good speed and acceleration for a guy as tall as he is. He's not a great tackler at cornerback, and he's not great in run support, but everything else he's good at. Ball skills, he has a knack for the ball. I can't tell you the exact amount of interceptions he had, but he was a ball hawk at LSU. Great in man coverage. You can also play him in zone, but I think he'd better fit a team that's going to play more man than zone. Although I think he has the football IQ to learn the zone. He's more experienced and better as far in man coverage than in zone coverage. And for a guy that's as tall as he is, great speed and good acceleration to keep up with some of the faster receivers in this league. So
exactly.
Really good corner prospect. And there are a lot of good corner prospects in this draft, just like there are pass rushers. DeAndre Baker from Georgia, there's a bunch of them. So if you're in need of defense, this is the draft for you.
Yeah, this is the draft.
If you are in need of a quarterback, that was last year.
Yeah. And there's a lot of underrated wide receivers as well.
Yeah.
But they'll be a little bit later in the draft. I think they'll be more in the second round.
Yeah.
My number 10 guy is Juwan Taylor. No. Jonah Williams, my bad. But you already mentioned him. I'm going to just talk about Juwan Taylor. That's why I mentioned him there. Juwan Taylor, 6'5", 334. I mean, I don't know much about him, just other than the fact that I honestly think he might have been Florida's best offensive player last year. When you think about their running game, it's that power play where he's
pulling.
Yeah, he's pulling on it every time, and that was their money play last year. So
Yeah, and they struggle with the quarterback consistency. Felipe Franks. I don't know what to say. They just struggle to find that consistency in a quarterback, which kind of prevented them from actually winning or contending with Alabama in the SEC. But that's a different topic for another day.
yeah,
But I like Taylor. You can't go wrong, I don't think. But I'm going to talk about number 10. I have Haskins, number 10, the first quarterback on my list. I really love, he's prototypical NFL quarterback, pocket passer.
right,
He can run, but he's not as big a threat to run as some of the other guys.
right.
Kyler Murray, obviously, is the better athlete, but arm strength checks that box. Pocket presence and awareness checks that box. Deep ball checks that box, and
Size.
accuracy. Also, he can be very accurate. He's not a great running threat, and sometimes I think his footwork can get a little
a little bit
off,
jumpy.
jumpy. If you, I don't know the exact word I want to use, but his footwork needs improvement, especially, and I think it will improve at the NFL level with higher level coaching and all that stuff. But I mean, I don't like the people who say Kyler's a better quarterback prospect than he is
Because if we're talking pure quarterback,
Yeah.
clearly this is the guy.
Yeah.
Something about maybe his decision making a little bit,
yeah,
but this is a guy that was second in the Heisman, I think, or at least should have been if he wasn't. He was amazing all year. He was kind of under the radar behind Tua and Kyler. But I mean, let's give him the credit he deserves. You know,
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I can look it up right now, but I think
he was third actually.
he was third in the Heisman voting. But for a dude who threw, what was it, 48 touchdowns?
Yeah.
And threw for 4,500 yards plus to come third in the Heisman voting, that just tells you how strong the quarterbacks this year in college football were. It's just Kyler ended up edging them with obviously winning the Big 12 championship and all that stuff.
And Tua getting injured.
Yeah, Tua getting
injured.
Factor. But though for I think 4,800 yards and 48 touchdowns, that's no joke.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that is no small feat right there.
I ended my list at the top 10, so maybe if you just want to
I'll
finish
just
off and I'll chip in where I want to.
Let's go a little quicker here.
Okay.
At number 12, I have Montez Sweat.
Yep.
Defensive end, outside linebacker, Mississippi State, 6'6", 241 pounds. Best in the 3-4 scheme. I mean, I don't know if I'd like him in coverage like he would be asked to be sometimes in a 3-4, but obviously, he's someone that can just go out there and wreck a quarterback's day, and that's what he's the best at. I mean, that there's no other. I mean, you can question his run defense at times, but I mean, what he's good at, he's one of the best in the draft at by far. So.
Yeah, he's got excellent length, long arms, which will bode well for an edge rusher like him. Great instincts and good play recognition. He has the ability to recognize and redirect himself to go make a play on the ball. Active hands, great bursts, finishes plays, and he gives the second effort. That's something that you're going to have to A lot of these guys are gonna have to learn. If you don't get it the first time, you can always get back into the play and get it the second time. A lot of dudes will come into the NFL and
Slack a little bit.
slack a little bit and miss them the first play and they just give up.
Right.
He has the motor to. If he doesn't get it the first time, he'll go back and redirect himself and go make a play, get back into the picture a second time. And his quickness is one of his best attributes. So another edge rusher.
Yeah.
Draft dominant.
13. At 13, I have DK Metcalf. 1.5% body fat on this dude. Like, unbelievable. Like, there is more fat in avocado than there is on that dude's entire body. That's insane to think about. I mean, 6'4", 230. I mean, what more can you say? He can high point the ball. He's just, obviously he didn't have the quarterback play at Ole Miss, but if you put him in a good offensive system in the NFL, there's no reason why this dude can't be a star. I'd worry about his off the field issues a little bit, but I mean, he's an elite talent.
Yeah, I'm looking at his scouting report. Ball skills, as you mentioned, he can not only go up and high point the ball, but he has the ability to adjust to underthrow balls. And that's another thing you got to be good at to be a lead receiver in this league. He can elevate above taller, more physical cornerbacks, and he has great hands. His speed and burst vertically is something that really separates him among this receiver class. He has very long strides. His size is ideal for a receiver. I think he was more of a vertical threat in college. I think he might need to improve on his route running and kind of diverge a little bit.
Yeah, diversify his game a little bit.
Diversify his game.
His route tree.
For sure. But that's something that comes with playing in the NFL, and it kind of depends on what offensive system he's asked to play in,
right?
Who the quarterback is, and all that.
But regardless,
he's a talent.
Yeah, every team needs a guy that you can just throw a fade route to, and he'll go get it.
Yep.
So, whatever team he ends up on, will be in good hands. Literally. No pun intended.
Really good hands.
Really good hands.
All right, we'll just do maybe one or two more. So whoever you want to talk about.
At 15, I had Deontay Thompson.
Great safety.
Safety out of Alabama. 6'2", 196 pounds. He's excellent in run support as well. That's what I like about his game. He's, I mean, obviously you can't compare him to a Hall of Famer like Paul Malu, but he's a lot like him in that sense, to where he can come up and support in the run.
Yep.
And he's a sideline guy, like a lot like Earl Thomas.
Yep.
In that way, where he can be the only one, be in the cover one and be the only one back there, and he can go across the field fast and get to the ball. I mean, what more is there to say? His resume speaks for itself. What he's done on the field. I mean, all those interceptions he had this year. I think he had 3 or 4, maybe forced fumbles. I can't remember the exact number, but I know something like that. Something impressive.
Yeah. Size, length, and speed are very impressive. Physical and athletically as a safety. Excellent closing speed, ability to break on the ball. First on routes, breaking in front of him. He plays very fast and very aggressive. Has a high motor. I think some of the cons you could say, uh, his mental processing is kind of coming along still. He still needs to work on play recognition and all that stuff. But and I think he can be quicker to recognize route combinations, where he needs to be, and where the ball's going. But like you mentioned, he already has those instincts, like Palomalo had, and
I mean,
that
what more
makes a
can you
great
say?
safety.
Yeah, if you just develop that and build on that, you have something great.
And he has the radius and he's rangy. He plays sideline to sideline, which you have to do in today's NFL with
With the rules being the way they are, the cornerbacks are just on islands unless you have a great safety back there.
Yep. So
So I could see some team trading up for this guy. Maybe
very
even
underrated.
or even a team like the Packers using one of their 2 first-round picks on him because they need secondary help. So that's it for that segment. So let's move into the NBA.
Okay. So you can
We're
start us off with
about an hour in already.
we'll try in 15, 21 minutes.
Yeah. What I wanted to highlight in this episode with our NBA was just who has the upper hand out of the top 4 in the East. No disrespect, Pacers fans, but unfortunately, Oladipo's out, so we're leaving y'all out of this. But y'all have had a great season. It's just unfortunate he went down like that. But for this scenario, it's Celtics, Sixers, Bucks, and Raptors. And in the playoffs, it could very well come down to, or most likely will come down to, those 2 second-round matchups, and then one of those 4 teams will meet in the conference finals. Let's just think about the matchups here. Let's think a 4-5 matchup potentially between the Celtics and the Sixers. I think if you're the Sixers, you put Butler on Kyrie, number 1. And then from there, depending on whether the Celtics start Marcus Smart or whether they put Jaylen Brown back in the starting lineup, you put Simmons on him. And then from there, or maybe even Simmons on Marcus Morris, depending on how you want to do it, and then just switch everything, switch every screen, all of it. I think that's the way they have to play, even against the Raptors. I mean, the Raptors, it would be a little bit tougher with their size inside to switch everything, but I mean, other than Embiid, you have all basically wing defenders. So why not? So why not use your personnel to your advantage?
Yeah, I mean, the Bucks are really, really good, and they've shown to be really good. They're the best team in the East right now, the best record in the NBA.
Right.
But they still haven't won a playoff series yet. Giannis is obviously in the MVP conversation. I really like what they have in their guards, what they can throw out there with their guards. I love Brogdon because I'm a Virginia guy. Eric Bledsoe is great. They just gave him an extension today.
Right.
Brooke Lopez. But the thing I like about the Bucks this year is Mike Budenholzer has tweaked the offense to where they're playing like they need to in today's NBA. They're shooting and making more threes. There was a game a couple weeks ago where Giannis was even making his threes, and if he does that, I don't know. I mean,
NBA it's done for that.
it's done. You can book it if that happens. But I really like Milwaukee, but I'm just kind of hesitant to see in the playoffs where they'll go. I think if it's not Milwaukee, I'd have to go with Philly right now as my second team. I like the Raptors, and I think Kawhi is going to really help them in the playoffs. But we've seen with the Raptors, Kyle Lowry's he's disappeared at points in time. I really like Marc Gasol. That's going to help them. They have three really good big man floor spacers. Marc Gasol is going to help them space the floor. He's a great passer, great basketball IQ. They have Pascal Siakam, most improved player in my opinion.
Right, 100%.
He's averaging, we saw the stat earlier, 25.8 points per game in his last 4 games. And he's shooting like something crazy, 12 to 16 from 3 in that span. He's making those threes, and they got Ibaka, who's also a floor spacer and can shoot it from deep, and Marc Gasol. It's just how well Nick Nurse choose to utilize them with different matchups. Will they throw in Ibaka and Siakam? Will they change it up and throw in Marc Gasol? I just have to wait and see. It's kind of the wait and see game with a lot of these teams. I think the two teams that are playing the best right now and have the least amount of issues or concerns are the Bucks and the Sixers. It's just we'll have to watch. The only concern with the Sixers is we'll have to watch the health of Joel Embiid.
With the Bucks, they just added another guy to their bench, Pau Gasol. I mean, he's not what he used to be,
no
but I mean, you get a guy who can run your offense through him if you wanted to. Just give him the ball in the high post, and just everybody cutting, everybody just spacing the floor, and then let him go to work.
Yeah, and I was listening to something earlier when this news came out on SportsCenter, and they said that he's going to help, or I think it was on NBA Countdown. He's going to help. He gives them a guy with championship and deep playoff run experience.
Right. They don't have a lot of that.
Which is going to help them in their locker room. And he can help Mike Budenholzer, who's actually been there, had some deep playoff runs himself with San Antonio. The guy who's been under Pop, and now Kyle's been under Pop, and a lot of great coaches in his career kind of help the younger players when they embark on this long playoff run. But as I mentioned, the Bucks, their depth, they have an MVP candidate, a new and improved coach. They're playing a new style, and they're the best player in the best player in the conference. Giannis,
yeah, for sure.
And then Philly, I mean, that starting lineup, as long as it stays healthy, it might be. It's not better than the Warriors, but
I mean, second best in the NBA. Yeah. It's an arms race in the East.
Tobias Harris, man,
but like it's just an arms race in the East right now. Like everybody's like everywhere you look, everybody's adding a piece. And even like the Raptors, they just added Jeremy Lin to their bench after losing DeLon Wright. That's a key. At least they have someone to.
They're actually missing Fred VanVleet right now.
Yeah.
He's going to be out a couple more weeks. So that Lin addition helps them fill that void for the time being. Now, where Lin will go when VanVleet comes back, that remains to be seen. But definitely a guy you can keep on your team, and he's capable of having bursts. I mean, we've seen it before. So now the one team we've talked about the Bucks, we've talked about the Sixers, we've talked about the Bucks, the Sixers, and the
Celtics.
Have we talked about the Celtics?
No, not yet, actually. No.
Who's the other team? just had a mind fart.
Celtics,
Sixers.
Sixers,
Raptors.
Raptors.
We talked about the Celtics.
What are you
We
talking
talked
about?
about the Bucks. We talked about the Raptors. We talked about the.
Okay, stop. Okay, stop.
I'm gonna stop. But we haven't talked about the Celtics. That's my point.
Right.
So I'm gonna ask you. I need to stop talking for a minute. What do you think? I mean, what about the Celtics? I mean, what are their problems right now? What's going on?
I mean, I'm not one of those people that thinks the Celtics are better without Kyrie. I just think it's not working right now. I don't. It's just not quite clicking the way it was last year. Last year they had an identity. This year they don't. Last year they thrived on the defensive end, and they just took pride in it, and they were the toughest team in the NBA by far. They would just blue collar, just tough players all along that team, and then I feel like teams take on the personality of their star player, and I feel like Kyrie doesn't even know his personality right now. It's like he doesn't know when he's supposed to facilitate. He doesn't know when he's supposed to be. I'm taking over. You know, he's still trying to figure that out. You know, and I think once he figures that out, they'll be fine. But it's getting late in the season. I mean, we said that all year. Like we've said, they're going to figure it out. They're going to figure it out. But here we are, 20 games away from the playoffs, and they still haven't figured it out yet. So, I mean,
a little over a month.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I saw the comment. What did Robert Kraft do? Oh God. Okay. Yeah, we won't talk about Robert Kraft.
Yeah, we'll get that. Yeah, we'll get to that in a different podcast. Huh?
Yeah. But is that all you want to say about the NBA? I'm gonna mention a little baseball, but if that's all you want to say about the NBA.
Yeah, I think that's it with the NBA.
Do you want to talk any Lakers?
I mean, LeBron's gonna do LeBron things, right? I mean, he's got to take some responsibility. I mean, you can't point fingers the way he's doing right now and expect to have a healthy locker room. I mean, you just can't do that. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, he's a player. You know, no matter how great he is, he's a player. He's not the GM. He's not the owner. He's a player. So, he just needs to look in the mirror and just be like, I'm going to give it all I got for this team on both sides of the floor for the rest of the season and see how it plays out. Because at this point, there's a really low chance they're making the playoffs. They play the Clippers 3 times the rest of the season. They got to win all 3 of those. And I
believe they still.
If they
2 with Sacramento.
Right. Those also. Yeah, those are big too. I say if they lose 4 games for the rest of the season, they're out.
Yeah, they can't lose them anymore.
Because if you lose 34, 35 games, you're not making the playoffs.
They have like 19 or 20 games left. They got to go 17-3.
Yeah.
16-3.
Yeah, they got to get hot really quick. I don't think they're going to do it. I don't know.
I don't think so either, but
you never know. It's LeBron. It's so hard to bet against LeBron, but he just hasn't looked the same since he's come back. It's just, I mean, let's see this comment. How long will Robert Kraft be in jail? I mean,
You really want to diverge? I mean, save it for another.
we are a podcast of the people.
All
After
right,
all.
you go ahead. Voice your opinion. I'll stay out of the conversation.
Well, here's the deal. If he knew all the details, if he knew that he was that this was like sex slaves, he has to go to jail.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
There's no other explanation for it. I don't know that much about it, but
Yeah, I don't either. That's all I know.
yeah, that's why I haven't done any research on it. But the bottom line is, if he like had 100%, if he was 100% behind it all the way, then he should go to jail. That's it. Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah. How long?
How long? That kind of depends.
Who will win figure skating gold in 2020? All right. That's just something crazy. Yeah, we don't talk Olympics so far this podcast, but I want to wrap up the podcast with let's see. Wow, we did a lot. We did golf, we did NFL draft, we did NBA.
Yeah.
So we might as well finish off with a little baseball. Two things I want to mention real quick. Manny Machado, 10 years, $300 million with the Padres. Bryce Harper, yesterday, 13 years, $330 million. $330 Oh,
that's a lot of dough. With no opt-outs. No opt-outs. That's insane. That's a crazy long time.
I still can't. I don't care what sport it is. If I got offered $330 million.
Like, how much would you bet that he would be on the team in 13 years? I would bet a lot of money that he would be on the team in 13 years.
That's the thing.
There's
right
no way,
now.
right?
That's the thing. In the negotiations, the reason it took so long apparently was because Bryce wanted one team for the rest of his career. That's why they wanted the 13 years. They wanted him to play in one city till he's 38, 39, get all this money, maybe win one or two World Series because the Phillies are on the rise, and get out, and he'll be a Hall of Famer instantly if he does that because he already has all the others. He's won an NL MVP. He's an amazing hitter. He's a good defender. He's just an all-around player, high motor dude. But 13 years, $330 million with no opt-outs. It's kind of crazy. I wouldn't do it with no opt-outs. I personally would want to have an opt-out maybe like year 4, year 5, after I kind of had a couple years to evaluate how things are going. Maybe reevaluate my decisions. But there's also a no trade clause in this contract. It's also kind of crazy. So if I'm the Phillies, I'm happy I got him because he's one of the best players, and he seems to be committed to the team because he would have never signed this deal if he wasn't committed to being in Philly. But
I just want to see how old this guy is. Like,
he's only 26.
Oh, okay. That makes it a little better.
This is rare in baseball. To have a 26-year-old, I don't know much about baseball, but to have a 26-year-old of this caliber, two of them, Machado and Harper,
signed 10-year plus
contracts at $300+ million. And it was kind of a waiting game for both of them because we knew that if one got a certain amount of money and signed first, the other was going to get hired.
Yeah.
Because the first one to sign was going to set the bar, and then the next.
Yeah.
But Manny Machado is probably the better all-around player, better defender, more defensive versatility,
and also just better batting average.
Yeah.
Like Bryce Harper's a home run hitter. He's home run or bust. But Manny Machado, he's
He drives in runs.
Yeah.
He's not hitting home runs. He's driving in runs.
Yeah.
And he's an excellent defender. Can play shortstop or third base.
Right.
I'm not sure of his decision to sign with the Padres. I'm not sure if that's the team you want to.
I mean, they're a young team.
They're a young team, that's right, but they're on the rise, and I like the fact he structured his contract in a way where he has an opt-out option after year 4, year 5, like I was talking about. But he got the money he wanted. But as far as the all-around guy goes, Machado's probably the better option, and the Padres are kind of a rebuilding team, but they have one of the best, what they call farm systems in baseball, best set of prospects. So he kind of is that star they need to kind of lift the rebuild off the ground and get it going.
Right. They put butts in the seats too.
Yep, but that's the thing I want to mention with Harper. He puts butts in the seats.
Yeah.
Like
he moves the needle. Like what we say with Tiger Woods, he moves the needle.
After the contract was signed yesterday, I saw something. I believe 150,000 tickets were sold in the 24 hours since he signed that deal.
Oh my goodness.
He puts butts in seats, literally.
Yeah.
So, I mean, within a week and a half, we've had 3 players. Actually, 3. Nolan Arenado got 8 years, $260 million extension with Colorado. But within a week and a half, we've had 3 players sign for 8 years plus, $250 million plus. And people, just as people are saying, the market is broken and no one's signing deals, this happens. So
yeah.
We'll just have to see.
I still think that the MLB could benefit from a salary cap, though. Because, I mean, big market teams, I mean, they clearly have the huge advantage. I mean, from the outside looking in, I'm just a casual baseball fan.
Yeah.
I'm clearly not an expert with any of this, but I mean, if you look at the New York Yankees team, I mean, like, what? That's an all-star team. Like, what is going on? Like,
Yeah.
Like, address this. Like, what?
And before Harper got the money he got, there was that Tommy John surgery. It's going to be out for the first half of this season. Is going to be a free agent next year, Gregorius, and he's going to be looking for money. So you mentioned no salary cap, and they can. I mean, they're the Yankees. They
got money to blow.
Yeah,
like they're not the A's. Let's be clear on that.
But and one of the things that made baseball so interesting last year wasn't even the league. It was like the AL East. It was the Red Sox and the Yankees. And baseball's at its best when that rivalry is like
when that rivalry is really going
well.
And it's just that playoff series too. The Yankees just got embarrassed.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
That's the thing the Yankees had to improve on was their starting pitching. They improved on it some this offseason, but I think the Yankees. I think the Red Sox maybe lost a couple relievers, but we'll have to see kind of how that all evens out.
Yeah, there's always the trade deadline for that. So,
but I think that's going to do it for this podcast, episode 20. If you missed it, we talked about golf, the Masters. We did draft prospects. We'll definitely be doing more draft in the coming weeks or months. We did a little NBA. We'll do more of that soon. And we did some baseball. So pretty well-rounded podcast. We finished about an hour, 20 minutes, which is about average, maybe a little above average. So
thanks for watching, y'all.
Thanks for watching.
And thanks for all the comments, too.
Tune in next Friday. I'm sure we'll have something.
Yeah. next Friday at 8, as usual. We'll get back to our routine. Yeah, this was one of our most.
Peace.
Yeah, this was one of our best comments. Peace out.